In this video, we will talk about how to make the heating smart in the room that cannot be heated through traditional methods. Now, the market has been offering smart radiator solutions for some time. The challenge is the price. It costs almost 9 times the regular radiator. The other issue is that it will most likely run on some proprietary app and be difficult to integrate with the rest of your smart home. So instead of buying this one expensive piece of equipment, why not buy these 3 instead at half the price? Or add a hub and still be under the price of a single smart radiator? You will achieve the exact same outcome and actually generate more data to manage your smart home more precisely. Aqara temperature sensors can be added to Home Assistant directly through Zigbee to MQTT or ZHA, or alternatively through HomeKit device integration if you choose to pair it through the Aqara hub. If you pursue Apple HomeKit ecosystem, then it's even easier since Aqara is compatible out of the box. For the smart plug, I've chosen Tapo since I leverage Home Assistant and it has a perfect TP-Link smart home integration. However, you can easily replace it with this Matter-compatible one from Morose for just a 5 or more. Both have energy monitoring functionality, so if you are on the budget, you can set automations around electricity consumption. Now all we need to do is to plug the radiator into the smart plug and build an automation around it. As with any automation, it's about what works for you, as there are many dependencies involved. Do you use the room all the time or on schedule? Does this schedule stay consistent throughout the week, month, or even a year? How much time are you willing to dedicate to writing the perfect automation? I myself have written at least 5 versions of this automation before I've settled on one. And that's the one we will cover today. We start off with 4 triggers. At the start of the day, we can determine whether we want to preheat the room for our arrival or not. Next trigger uses temperature to define when to switch the heater on. In this case, when the temperature drops below 21 degrees Celsius. Another one for when to switch the heater off. In my case, I've observed that anything above 22.5 degrees makes the room unbearably hot. And the reason is not what you may think. It is just that the temperature sensor has a delay in pulling numbers, so it may sometimes only update once every 30 minutes, and thus the room will be way past 23 degrees by then. Finally, there is an end of day trigger that turns off the heater for the night. There are no overall conditions for the automation, as instead I am using a scheduled condition within individual actions. Keeping it that way will ensure no interference with triggers for start and end of the day. With actions, we go for choose and generate 4 options within it. As mentioned, for the first action, we set a relevant trigger condition and use actionable notification for the iPhone to determine whether we will or will not heat the room. When action is triggered, it checks for weekday condition and then switches on the heater. Immediately after, it sends a notification offering me an option to either verify it's working by clicking heat, which sends to the dashboard page, or to disable the heating routine. In the later case, we will write up a custom action so that on click, the system disables automation altogether for the day. This will prevent other triggers from kicking in, ensuring no heating for that day. To do that, you need to add a call service after you wait for the trigger and choose an automation turn-off option and select an appropriate entity. It will also switch off the heater which was turned on in the beginning of the sequence. You can then follow up with additional notification confirming it has been done. You may choose to go full auto and not require a notification and get rid of a trigger and action altogether. But through my own trial and error, I've learned that having a notification is a better way, since sometimes you forget to heat and other times the heater stays on for days and costs you a small fortune. Next 2 action options are built similarly to each other. Let's start with turning on when it's cold. We begin with 2 simple conditions. You choose the right trigger ID and the schedule. Now you repeat the same logic for turning the plug off when it gets hot. Final option is to turn the plug off at the end of the day. Nice and simple. In Apple HomeKit, you will be more limited with customization. You can set it up based on time or sensor values, but you will probably be better off to manage it manually by switching on and off. Also, similar logic can be applied to any room in your house where you use smart radiator valves. That way, you can automate your entire home heating, though it will require some testing as to what is the comfortable temperature in each room. And here you have it, a convenient way to manage room heating in your smart home. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.